Hello, hello, neighbors of the lower Naugatuck Valley. I'm Eugene Driscoll. Welcome to an impromptu navel gazing. The Valley Indie vlogcast. I tend to like doing these live streams now, better than audio-only podcasts. It's a little less work, I'll be honest with you. But I was just planning out coverage for the rest of the week, and I saw that tomorrow night, Thursday, April 13th, I believe is the date, there is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Derby Board of Aldermen and Alderwomen. I thought maybe we could take a look at the agenda together. That's exciting, right? Maybe just hang out for a second with the readers of the Valley Indie. Will the Valley Indie be here in 2024? Not looking good. I'll tell you that right now, to be honest. But let's see what's going on in Derby tomorrow. Derby government at work. I'm going to share my screen. This also gives me a chance to mess around with some settings in the old StreamYard. Okay, so here is the agenda. I hope you can see that well. Probably a little too large right now. There we go. Just go back and try something here. What does this do? What if we put me down here? All right, so this is an in-person meeting, as you can probably see. We got our roll call after the Pledge of Allegiance, of course. And then look at that. First off, there's a presentation. We have some economic development activity in the city of Derby. Scoot and Paddle, it says Christine Pritchard. I believe that is the owner. Roger Solway is the Derby Economic Development Director. Derby, you should put this info on your agendas. Don't assume we know who Roger is, but Scoot and Paddle operates a kayak rental during the summer months on Roosevelt Drive, Route 34. I'm pointing because I could, if I had a better arm, I could almost hit it with a football. I was going to say rock, but that's kind of weirdly aggressive. It's right behind my house. So I know it was popular, and I guess they're talking about, because if you go to the Derby website, you can look up some of the supporting documentation. But it looks like this business might operate some type of kayak rental on O'Sullivan's Island, perhaps. Now, I'm just looking at this for the first time. This isn't like fact check. I'm just reading an agenda with you. Because God bless America, we can do that. We can read the agenda to see what the government's up to. Let me stop sharing that, and I'm going to share, or will it just let me? Share this tab instead. So here's the agreement that the aldermen are apparently going to consider tomorrow night with, you can see the name, Broadway Ventures, LLC, doing business as Scoot and Paddle for use of space at O'Sullivan's Island and Hog Island for recreational retail. I forget which part is Hog Island. Sounds a little weird, but if you know, leave it in the chat. Of course, if you don't know, O'Sullivan's Island is where the Housatonic and the Naugatuck rivers meet, right below the Route 8 bridge that carries Route 8 traffic from Derby into Shelton, essentially. So there we have it right there. It would be an agreement to allow the licensee to temporarily use space located... has agreed to allow licensee to temporarily use space located at recreational space known as O'Sullivan's Island and Hogs Island for the purpose of operating a recreational retail business under the terms and agreements stated in this agreement. Terms and conditions, I'm sorry. So, license granted the responsibilities for the nominal payment of $1.00 per month. The city hereby grants permission to the licensee acting as an independent permittee to use designated space situated at O'Sullivan's Island and Hog Island as the site for the sole purpose of operating a recreational business described in narrative attached hereto as attachment B and blah, 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 blah. So it's a 1-year agreement effective May 1st, 2023, expiring April 30th, 2024. So that's sort of the news there. Like, I don't know if this, I mean, I don't assume it would be like a structure of any kind, but let's see if it says. Scoot and Paddle is in the business of renting single and double kayaks, fishing kayaks, stand-up paddle boards, bicycles, and electric commuter scooters, as well as offering numerous group activities, making everyday adventure in a safe, fun, and welcoming environment. They do, as you see, all those rentals right there. They do lessons. They do river cleanup. Okay, so I don't see anything about whether this is going to be a structure or whether it's some type of, do they like show up with a trailer and rent out the stuff, the equipment? I guess we'll know more tomorrow. This is the first time since the Valley Indies launched in 2009 that there's been any type of business looking to set up on O'Sullivan's Island. There was talk over the years of this, that, and another thing, but O'Sullivan's Island has contamination under the ground, which is capped, PCB contamination. So that limits how far you can dig into the ground. So it looks like this would just be maybe temporary structures. That's my only question to this. But I'm sure anybody watching, if you live in Derby, sounds like a pretty cool idea. Am I right? Stop sharing that right now. And what else is going on there on the old Derby meeting tomorrow? Let's go back to the agenda. And I'll share the agenda again. All right. Oh, here's another one. Look at that. We got 7.2 Greenway Lighting and Security presentation. Again, I guess that's a company and the economic development director talking about discussion of security on the Greenway. I've seen some things on social media from people saying it's too dark on the Derby Greenway. Very popular walkway going from downtown Derby along the Housatonic, although that's the Route 34 project is underway right now. And then it loops around up the Naugatuck River to BJ's and then continues on the Ansonia side. But there's been stuff on social media saying it's too dark there and it makes me kind of nervous. And there was a report the other day about like juveniles harassing people on the Greenway. I did reach out to the police lieutenant, Sal Frasino, to try to get information to confirm whether that was true. And I never heard back. So I know there's been concerns overall about security on the Derby Greenway, especially since there was that horrible sexual assault of a senior citizen. But I believe that happened in the middle of the day, if memory serves. Somebody went on a crime spree and thankfully was caught and locked up, but just a horrible thing. And it actually resulted in a lawsuit against the city saying the city hadn't done enough to secure that Greenway. I believe that lawsuit was thrown out according to reporting from Ethan Fry of the Connecticut Post. But now we have a proposal to install lights on the Derby Greenway. And you saw it listed on the agenda as for security, in an effort to improve security. Lighting the Derby Greenway. The introduction of lighting onto the Derby Greenway fosters community involvement, direct investments of its citizens. Yes, okay. Form meets function. So these are the types of lights they're going to have. I don't know if that's too. Another. I don't know if anybody's in the comments. This seems like something the public would very much be in favor of, especially given some of the complaints that have popped up recently about the Derby Greenway on social media. I don't see a price. That's kind of typical for governments. They often, I'm sure to be stated at the meeting, but it often doesn't make it in advance. Shh. So we have that going on. Run down the rest of the agenda real fast. Can I make this meeting? I don't know. My dad's in the hospital. I forgot this meeting was happening. I've forgotten a lot of stuff over the last couple of months. Got a Rise Up Art presentation by Susan Schroeder and Superintendent Matthew Conway. Matthew Conway is the superintendent of schools, informational only. I know for one thing, I don't know if anybody Derby knows, or maybe there's some public officials watching this from Derby. I know at one point, the Martin Luther King Jr. Committee of the Valley was talking about doing a mural of some type in Derby, and that seemed to go nowhere. I'm not sure where that is in the process. You see the fire marshal. He is trying to. I don't know exactly what the new fire marshal is trying to do there, but I know he wants to have the assistant fire marshals or the deputy fire marshals do more inspections. I'm talking off the top of my head here. And then we got a generator donation. Fire Commissioner Gary Parker donate a discussion on possible action. Let's see. Going back to Rise Up for the Arts, I believe Rise Up. Oh, this was a group that does murals all over the state of Connecticut. I know every time I publish something about a mural being placed somewhere, the comments are like, bibbidi bop boo. So I think Ansoni just went ahead and did it. But I guess we'll get more information on that. I don't really know what this is, other than I know we've written about this before and it's been discussed in Derby before, but this is maybe they're talking about doing it in the city of Derby. I don't know. As a resident of Derby, I know I'm not supposed to give my opinion, God forbid, but a little color on some of the downtown buildings, if an owner would allow it, probably wouldn't be a bad thing. Right? Derby's not exactly the best looking city downtown. I can say that because I live there. Compared to some of the surrounding downtowns and all over the state. Also, according to my kids. So that's really it. It is a short meeting. I am in receipt of some testy emails between a member of the Board of Aldermen and the Chief of Staff over what gets put on the agenda. There is a lot of fighting in Derby. I'm not going to BS you. There is a lot of fighting between the Chief of Staff and some members of the Board of Aldermen, even over what gets put on the agenda. But it is what it is. So we'll see what else happens, because we don't know what other issues could be brought up during this meeting. And of course, it's a election year when these typical meetings tend to get more lively, I guess, for lack of a better word. We had some news stories on the Valley Indy today. Thomas Egan's running for mayor in Ansonia. I don't know if people saw that. There were some people like posting links to Tom's, it looked like a fundraising link. The only thing I say is I have to cut down. I can't allow hyperlinks anymore on the Valley Indy Facebook page because we were getting spammed left and right. And I guess it's a problem all over Facebook, not just the Valley Indy. So I disabled that function. Also, I'm not comfortable fundraising. I don't want the page to be used as a fundraiser for politicians. No offense, but the rules on that are kind of weird. And I don't want to get myself in trouble by something that sits on there, or a post that gets posted there. So if you want to demonstrate how to, oh, you know what? I got a phone call. This might be for my family in New York. I'm going to have to end the broadcast. Thank you.